Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the last few sessions. I know there were lots of providers there that I hadn't seen before, particularly interested in Mighty Writer. I really think it's something else, actually. Very interested in it. So the next 45 minutes, best practice phonics. And you'll see there that I haven't got a whiteboard there or a flashcard. And we're going to be looking at physical phonics and looking at how we can get children to do the same skills over and over and over again, but also as well with lots of different sort of paraphernalia that you can do on a shoestring. You'll all be down to home bargain in the range by the end of this, but how we can, and also how we can use recyclable stuff as well to engage children to use their physical nature, their physical development, but also as well to keep them engaged. Okay, so this session I'm going to do a little bit of phonics subject knowledge, progression from phase 1 to phase 5 with some really helpful phrases and multisensory actions that you can use. Best practice quality first phonics teaching. So in the chat, Mike, I don't know whether you could put that in again, the best practice phonics guidance, teaching guidance. And basically, again, you've got a set of descriptors that you can work together as a team to strive for that absolute consistency and go through and say, what are we doing now? Is everybody doing it? What do we need to streamline? What are the quick fixes? And then what do we need to implement? What needs to happen straight away? What needs to happen as part of that action plan? So that will fit in with what you kind of just done there. But I also use that when I am observing phonics as well. So if a leadership team asks me to come in and do joint phonics observations, I will have done leadership and management of phonics sessions with the senior leadership team, and all the staff will have had that. They'll know what a good one looks like. They'll have seen the model phonics sessions, and then it's an even playing field for everybody. This is what we're looking for. I mean, the amount of times I used to be observed and I would say, well, what, you know, they'd criticize something, which was like, oh, awful to take that feedback. But also as well, I'd always counter that with the question, okay, what would you like me to do differently? And most of the time, especially Ofsted, couldn't really tell me. So this is a really good sort of development, peer review, peer coaching, but not only for for Ofsted and streamlining and sort of what would you call it, you know, making sure we've got that. It is for our very important little people to make sure they are getting first class phonics and that there's no cattle class phonics going on, and striving for that absolute consistency. And as you'll see from some of the photographs on the screen today, and the things like the paraphernalia I have around me right now, which I'm going to try and show you throughout the session, that let's make it fun and let's make it physical. So without further ado, if you could all just bob over to Kahoot. And I did see before that lots of people had already started. We are going to, let's have a little look. There we go. We've got all these people that have joined in. So you can join in with 816-9807. If you are in it, you're in it to win it. Mike Reardon, if you win, you can, it will be an absolute fluke. What
about me?
Fluke as well. And you guys have already got a stir and a cracker book, so you can't win. Yeah, there's going to be, there's three, you've first, and there's second and third. So it's how quick you are at answering the question and how accurate you are as well. As I do this, it's just a bit of a different way of doing sort of virtual phonics quizzes with you. It adds a little bit of excitement to the table as well, a little bit of competitiveness, but sometimes you also get double points as well, and streaks that are on fire. But as I do this, it is subject knowledge. I will also add in the progression and those sorts of things as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a double whammy, really. So have we got anybody else? I really want to get cracking and get started. Let's just check the chat there. Oh, that's Mike. Let's put that in. Okay, I've got 26 of you in. How many have we got in the room? 50. So I'm going to give you literally 30 seconds. So I'm going to ask some questions for you. Keep on getting yourselves in, guys. If you can't, You can join in. Don't worry, Kathy, if you're struggling. If you want to put answers in on the chat, that's absolutely fine. Thanks, Mike. So go to kahoot.it on your browser, and then you type in 8169807. So I'm going to be asking you, like, think about what's a phoneme and what a phoneme actually is. We've got some true and false questions. What's a grapheme? How many sounds are there in the English language? What's phonological awareness? How many spellings are there in the English language? What's a schwa? And how many spellings do you know for the sound A? And how many sounds do you know for the spelling IE? So just giving you a little bit of a heads up there so you can kind of get your brains in gear to answer these questions. I don't want to leave anybody out. It's creeping up, but I am going to have to start in a minute. 10 more seconds. Tracy, don't worry, just answer them in the chat if you want to. No, Damien's definitely not going to win from what he's just said there. It would be an absolute fluke. Okay, so let's get started. So you'll have your colours on the screen. Mike's there at the ready. This is a quiz, okay? It's double points, guys. So what is phonological awareness? Is it the ability to hear the sounds in the words that we speak, recognise all of the letters of the alphabet, know and remember all the grapheme phoneme correspondences, or green, read and write words? I've had 9 answers. There's 8 seconds to go. 12 answers. Come on, guys. Fastest fingers. You only got 4 seconds to go. Excellent. 18 of you said it was to hear the sounds in the words that we speak. Basically, this is what children need to be successful at phonics, and listening skills, from what my observations as I have gone up and down the country and internationally as well, when I've supported schools with phonics, is that the listening skills get chucked out the window the second we start on set 1 or phase 2, because we're hell-bent on them remembering the spellings for the sounds. And then we wonder why, for example, they can't transfer those skills into their reading and their writing. So phase 1 phonics, firm foundations in phonics, the ability to be able to hear the sounds in the words that we speak, hence no flashcards allowed. And basically it's rhythm and rhyme, it's alliteration, it's oral blending and segmenting, and no flashcards allowed. Let children build up a really strong foundation, so when those super spellings come on, they just hook onto that part of the brain, and children can have those crucial skills of application into reading and writing. Okay, are you ready for the next one? Let's go. Next. No way is Damien at the top there. Ridiculous. Cheat. This is true or false. A phoneme is the letter. A phoneme is the letter. Is it blue, true, or red, false? A phoneme is the letter. 25 answers. 30. Excellent. 10 seconds to go. I think that's all of you. I think there's 33 in the room. Oh no, 34. Anybody else want to answer? There we go. Okay, it is false, and 28 of you got that right. Well done. A phoneme isn't a letter. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound that you can hear in a word. And one thing about phonics is that we need to make sure that we're not saying to children, today children, we're going to learn a phoneme, and here it is, because that's not the phoneme. What we need to do is wake up and shake up the sound processing system when we say, today children, we're going to listen to a sound we can hear in a word. Watch me. Soap, soap. Your turn. And what sound can we hear in the middle of soap? We can hear an O. So today, children, we're going to be learning the spelling for the sound O. So we've listened to it in words, and we've done, and if everyone can join in with me with this, we do a super segment. Can you all do that? A super segment and a brilliant blend. Come on, Claire. Drinnen, I want to see you really taking part there. Helps us to hear the word at the end. Or it could help us to read the word at the end. So we put some things up like a goat. So we say, right, guys, get your supersonic fingers at the ready and segment the word goat. Goat, goat. What sound can we hear in the middle of goat? We can hear an O. Then we do it with toad or road. We say, right, okay, it's now time to see the spelling. This is what it looks like. This is the spelling for the sound O. And we do my turn to help our brains learn. Now, I don't know what it is with children, but they can't bear to give you my turn. But my turn is so important. The amount of times on Zoom when I've been teaching phonics recently, I'm going, but guys, it's my turn. Zip it. My turn. Listen. Okay. But now we do my turn to help our brains learn. So my turn. Oh, our turn, everyone. And then your turn. But they need their supersonic phonic fingers and they need to be pointing to it as well. So can everyone point to the spelling for the sound O and say O? Can you say it in a high-pitched voice? Can you say it in a grumpy voice? Can you say it in a squeaky voice? Children, this is the spelling for the sound O. Remember, it's 2 letters. It makes 1 sound. It's a digraph. Can you do that? Your turn. Two letters, makes 1 sound. It's a digraph. Well done, Claire. I'm so sorry. You only, I can see you, Damien, and Mike, so you're just going to get picked on. But Damien and Mike, can you make sure everyone's joining in, please? Because I've got one more prize for the best joiner inner. So make sure they're doing that. Okay, so the phoneme is the sound that we can hear, and every lesson should start with the phoneme, what we can hear in a word. So we wake up and shake up that sound processing system, and then we show them the spelling. Right, next up. Damien was top then as well. There are 56 sounds in the English language. Is that true or false? 56 sounds in the English language. 15 seconds. 19 if you've answered. Come on, keep going. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's have a little look. It is false. 11 of you said true. If you said it is false, how many sounds are there in the English language? Can you write it into the chat? Well done, Emma, Sarah, Cassie. Exactly. There are 44. Damien, how did you even know that? Right, so there are 44 sounds in the English language. So there are 44 sounds that we can hear in the words that we speak. Now, it'd be really easy then. Phonics and reading and writing would be so simple if we also had 44 spellings, but we haven't got 44 spellings. I'm not going to tell you how many there are, because that's going to be a question in a moment, but I'm telling you now, it's a lot more than 44. Oh, so Sparkle is in the lead there. Rudders, Snowball, Nikki H and Rach. Brilliant that they've knocked Damien off the leaderboard there. Right, this is a poll. I am confident with the term schwaring in phonics. Do you strongly agree with that? Do you agree, disagree, or strongly disagree? Schwaring. You've only got 10 seconds, guys. Keep going. Okay, so I've got 12 of you that strongly agree with that, 8 that agree, 8 that disagree, and 1 that can strongly disagrees. Okay, so on the chat, could somebody just put an example of what schwaring actually is? Well done, Annie Rose. It's p, it's not m. It's s, not s. And we're really good up north at doing it here, but I know we've got people from all over the UK on this today, but I don't know what it is. There's schwaring with our children, but also as well, and I keep on talking to my children about spooky phonics, saying we're not doing spooky phonics. So we might be doing revisit and review, and they're going like this, A. And I'm like, children, where has that come from? Where has it come from? It is A. Are you ready? My turn, A. Your turn, A. I'm making it really short and sharp. So there's no spooky phonics. And basically it's adding an and we need to pronounce our sounds clearly and precisely. We need to enunciate them clearly and precisely in order for children's sound processing systems in terms of blending, but also segmenting for writing, in terms of the fact that children, you'll start to see it rearing their ugly heads in their spellings. You'll see a lot of U's and H's and W's, going instead of going, go-ing. So it's that that we're adding onto it. Now, it's important for our very important little people. It's so important for them in terms of progress and application into reading and writing, but it is actually Ofsted core criteria as well. So make sure that nobody is schwaring or swearing in their phonics. I basically say, don't swear in your phonics and keep your gob shut. So if you basically m or so I just think really carefully about how you do that. Is this true or false? It's double points. A grapheme is a sound. A grapheme is a sound. True or false? Going up very quickly. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. 21 of you said that it was false. A grapheme isn't a sound. The phoneme is the sound that we can hear, and the grapheme is what we can see. It's the spelling. And you know what? When I worked for National Strategies, we always had to use the right terminology. I'm like, today, children, we're going to listen to a phoneme in a word that we speak, and then we're going to find the representing grapheme for the phoneme, and we're going to match the grapheme-phoneme correspondence. Today, children, we're going to listen to a sound we can hear in a word, and then we're going to have a look at the spelling for it. And I give you full permission to use that and put that in your policy for Keep Up Phonics. Strip it back, make it simple. What sound can we hear? What spelling can we see? What sound can we hear? What spelling can we see? And you'll understand why we're doing those multisensory movements, especially when we come to phase 5. So it's what we can hear and what we can see, and we're fusing those two parts of the brain together. Let's see who's at the top of the leaderboard. Oh, Sparkle, you've been knocked off by Rudders. Rudders, keep it up. Okay, this is a quiz. How many spellings are there in the English language? Remember, there are more than 44. Are there 789, 1000, 176, over 1500? Off you go. So 2 of you said that there were, oh, wow, 789. 3 said there were 1000. 4 of you, absolutely correct, said there were 176. And 15 of you said over 1500. Guys, I would like to tell you and debunk that myth that there aren't over 1500 spellings in English language. There are only 176, and lots of them do have choose to use rules. And I'm going to be talking to you about that, where they sound the same, but they look different. And we say, this is so cool. There's a choose to use rule. If I hear the sound in the middle, I'll choose to use AI. If I hear the sound at the end, I'll choose to use AY, my friend. Or this is not cool. We don't have a choose to use rule because we've got double E and EA. So let's write with both spellings. Let's have a good look and see which one looks like the right spelling for me. And basically, we've got choose to use rules, and we're going to help children make those spelling choices effectively, and not just pin the tail on a donkey and I fancy using AY in all the A spellings today. Oh, Nikki H, you've just picked Rudders and Sparkle there. Okay, well done, Joe and Lars, keep it up. How many spellings are there for the sound A in words, as in rain? A, so you've got AI. How many other spellings do you know? Are there 10, 5, 3, or 7? Only 2 seconds, guys. None of you said 10. Okay, 17 of you said 5. 5 of you said 3, and 2 of you said 7. Guys, there are 10 spellings. This is what's going to pull me now, because I'm going to have to pull this out of my brain. I've not got it written down. So you've got rain, AI, AY, as in play, split digraph, bake, A on its own, acorn, EY, as in they and grey, AIGH, as in straight, EIGH, as in neighbour, EIG, as in rain, EI, as in vein. And there's one more. Oh, AE, like an ice cream sundae or Gaelic football. Fortunately, in phonics, what we do, we teach the most common ones. And the most common ones are split digraph, AI and AY, and A on its own. So that's what we teach sort of at phase 5 phonics. When we get into more spellings, we'll look at the rarer ones of those. Right, so let's see, has this leaderboard changed? No, it's not, right. I think this is the last question. This is a quiz. So think carefully about this. How many sounds are there for the spelling IE? So you've got pie, So it makes I, but it also makes another one. I'll just give you the answer. It makes another few. Is it 2, 4, 3, or 1? Rubbish.
I answered before the clue.
Rightly or wrongly so?
Wrongly. That's been my tactic all the way through. Answer quickly, get the most points. It's failed me apart from the first two.
There are two, guys. You've got I as in pie, and you've got E as in thief. So they look the same, but they sound different. So you've got choose to use, sounds the same, looks different, and switch it sound spellings, I call it, looks the same and sounds different. Okay, so let's see who's up there on the podium. Nikki H, you've come third. You need to send your details in. Rudders second, and first, dun, 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 it's Joe. Well done, Joe. You've just shot up the leaderboard there. So Nikki, Joe, and Rudders, you've all got a signed copy of Sir Undercracker. Well done. Now, in the next part, I'm going to be asking for quite a bit of participation. Obviously, it's not like role play, which I would rather eat my own head on courses to do, because actually you're behind a screen, nobody else can really see you, but Damien and Mike are going to be looking out for maximum participation people. So can you do that for me, guys? Okay, so that was a little bit of your subject knowledge, basically. There are 44 sounds, 176 spellings. We've got choose to use rules and switch it sound spellings as well. That we're not allowed to schwa in our phonics, and that phonological awareness is absolutely key for children to flourish in their phonics. Mike, are you all right to just keep hold of the chat and check if there's anything that I need to answer? Okay, so I'm going back to the best practice guidance that we gave you before, that's in the early reading best practice guidance. So it's all about it's phase 1 embedded in nursery. And the ability to be able to hear the sounds and the words that we speak is the main priority, and it's recognised by all stakeholders, and that's including your governors, your SIPs, your English subject leads, who might be saying you need to start them on your phonics, you need to start them on phonics in nursery. It is not necessary. They need to have that absolutely embedded. Work closely with feeder providers to ensure that children have sufficient experience, exposure and enjoyment of phonological awareness, so that we are engaging and reaching out with our private and voluntary settings for our children that are going to come and join us in reception. We also ensure that children demonstrate that they are ready to start. And one of the Ofsted phrases is that children start at the beginning of reception. I was on a conference when we were allowed to do things like that, and I had an interesting chat with an Ofsted inspector and said, what are your thoughts on this? And he said, well, we just expect children to be ready. I said, but if they're not ready, then we're setting them up for a fail. And actually that level of children need to start is actually, that's creating the 20% of our lowest readers. And it's also instilling a reluctancy in reading and writing. He looked blankly at me, he shook my hand and told me it was very nice to meet me, and he left very quickly and had no comments. But basically, you have the confidence there to say, these children are ready, and put your job on the line for it. I've done that. I've been in my head teacher's office and said, I am not starting those boys till at least after Christmas. I'm not starting those boys till at least after Easter. They are not ready. They're not emotionally ready. They're not physically ready. And they haven't got the cognitive capability of the sound processing system. So they absolutely need that. Consistent teaching of phonics. It's taught daily in reception in Key Stage 1. It's high quality, so you can use your best practice phonics guidance. Lessons are fun, they're physical, movement, and planned to children's interests wherever possible. When the children do start systematic synthetic phonics, there's a clear progression, and then that staggered approach. And what you can do then is literally go through this and say, what else do we do? And what can we implement further to strengthen this for future impacts or further impacts? And also that all staff have had sufficient expertise in the teaching of phonics. They've got sufficiently well-developed subject knowledge. They've watched model lessons. They've done peer and coach review. They've had all the training that they absolutely need. So again, you've got your super six there that you can look at and decide, where do we fit on this and what do we need to implement further to strengthen this area for impact. You've got your best practice phonics teaching guidance. I'll get that out if I can, but it is there for your perusal. but it's what does good planning look like? What does good resourcing look like? What does it look like for the children? What does it look like for the adults? And what does it look like for our parents as well? And again, very simply, red, amber, green, this is what we do. This is what we need to tweak. This is what we don't do, and get those plans in place. Now, actually, everything on there can literally be a quick fix. It might be that, you know, maybe the engagement of the parents might need a little bit more of a shove in the right direction, but everything on there can be achieved. And what it is it's an absolute consistency, even playing field for everyone to know what is expected of them, and not just to deliver, you know, outstanding phonics lessons for your early reading manager, for your head teacher, for your SIP or Ofsted. So we know that our children are getting first class phonics every single day, and it's consistent. Okay, so what is phonics all about? Let's not remember the listening skills. We need the listening skills. So we need to be able to listen to the words and the sounds in the words that we speak. We need to be able to see it and remember it. And then we need to be able to build, segment, build and blend. And then we need to be able to read and write. And that's what we've got to remember. It's listen, recognize, build, read, write. Listen, recognize, build, read, write. And that's what you are assessing on a daily and weekly basis. We've got to make sure our phonics is physical. Why have we got to do this? If you put your arms out in front of you like this, everybody, and turn your head from left to right, from left to right. Can you all do that? Can you hear me okay? Yeah. You are able to keep your arms out in front of you. If you ask your children tomorrow to put your arms out like this and ask them to move their head from left to right, more than likely they will do this. And that's because they haven't got sufficiently well-developed upper body strength to be able to actually carry out that movement. And if you think about it, if you do this with your fingers, like a pen, and just feel all the way up your arm, you're actually using all of these muscles here. And children need big movements, up and down, and left and right, and round, clockwise and anti-clockwise. There's a really good program that Jeanette Basson-Wood does called Squiggle Whilst You Wiggle, which is brilliant for those pre-handwriting skills. You might have dance rights, or right dance, sorry, in a cupboard on a dusty shelf. It's quite outdated, but you can still get quite a lot of stuff for it. But how physical is your phonics? How physical is it across the curriculum? Your outdoor play, how physical are we giving, how much physical gross motor stuff are we giving our children? And it's the same here with our hands and our fine motor stuff. So if you can just put your hands out like this and just feel that muscle there, give it a good rub. Right, and go to the action of picking up a pen. Or pick up a pen. What happens to that muscle? It tenses, it gets harder. Okay, that doesn't develop in our children till the age of 8, because that's just the child development. So we need to make sure that our children have got lots and lots and lots of this. So loads of fine motor skills. Where's the fine motor in maths? Where's the fine motor across the curriculum? They need lots and lots of this, because that's going to help them eventually with their writing. As before, we said firm foundations in phonics, no flashcards allowed. And it's that rhythm and rhyme, alliteration, voice sounds and oral blending and segmenting, which is absolutely key. But that oral blending and segmenting. So let me see, I've got a shot glass here in front of me. I'm not going to drink vodka after this, I promise you. These are for my light up boxes. So you can get an under the bed sort of storage box, get some little magical battery lights, turn the box upside down. You've made yourself a light box. And basically the children love building phonics on their super light box. But here I've got a cup. So we're going to go with the word cup. Now, I can do phonic fingers. Cup, up, cup. In fact, I'm going to just come off screen share just for a moment. She says, don't know how to. Just going to stop the share. Okay, can you unmute, please, guys? Okay, with your phonic fingers, so we'll do my turn to help our brains learn. Remember that phrase? So my turn to help our brains learn. Cup, up, cup. Your turn.
Cup.
Fantastic. We could use our robot arms. So cup, up, cup. Your turn. Okay, we could use our Spider-Man fingers. It's getting really dark in here. I apologize. It's actually going quite dark. So if I'm in darkness by the end of this, I apologize. Right, Spider-Man fingers, cut up, cup. Well done. Lindsay really enjoyed that. I could tell by her non-verbal communication. Hulk smash, guys. Cut up, cup. Fantastic. This is my segmenting squatter. Okay, you have got 5 seconds to find a segmenting squatter. Find something that you could use for a segmenting squatter. Lindsay's got a ruler. What have you got, Cassie? Piece of paper. Oh, a phonic mat. Well done. Someone's got a book. Okay, so we can pretend that this is a lightsaber. It's a sword. It's a magic wand. It's oh goodness, lightsaber, sword. And what else? I think I've said them all. I think I've said them all. Okay, so we're going to chop up the word cup and we're going to blend it back together. Cut up, cup. Your turn. Fantastic. And notice we're doing that physical movement. This is where I'm definitely checking that my neighbours aren't here. Just bear with me. Okay, so everyone can stand up, please. Get your kung fu arms out.
Yeah.
My turn to help your brains learn. Up, cup. You've got to do a leg kick. Okay, we can go for a swim. Stay standing. We can go for a swim. Up, cup. Your turn. Fantastic. We can bounce a ball. We can bounce a basketball. Up, cup. Your turn. And last but not least, we can go disco dancing. Up, cup. Okay, so if you are sick and tired of robot arms and phonic fingers, and you want to inject a little bit of va-va-voom into your phonics, then this is a really good way of doing so. And I'm sure you'll come up with lots yourselves, like kind of popular culture that's coming up, the floss, you can dab it if you want to, all those things that really get our children, Trifu Tom. I'm not really au fait with CBeebies anymore. Thank goodness Mr. Tumble is no longer in my life, but tuning into what children are really interested in as well. Okay, so physical oral blending and segmenting. Phase 2, listen, recognize, build, read, write, 3 sounds only. You've got 6 weeks. And this is where I was talking about actually the fact that you don't have to start children straight away, because phase 2 and phase 3 are about 13 weeks long. And if you work back from when do I need them to be secure by, and when is the latest possible date I can start them, then you've got that movement to say it's okay if we start them a little bit later, because actually they're going to flourish with their phonics better because they've got the phonological awareness skills. Same for phase 3. Remember, it's listen, recognize, build, read, and write. Phase 4 has become the poor relative indeed, because it always said no new learning. However, it's not about no new learning, it's no new spellings to remember. So we're moving from CBC, 3 sounds in a word, to now 4 sounds in a word. But what children might tell us is that they went capping in a tet, because they've omitted the adjacent consonant. So what we need to do is help children's brains tune into the adjacent consonant so they can hear that in a word. And that's what phase 4 is all about. So what we do is we start with the word 10, 10, and then we say, right, we know that, but we want to turn the word 10 into tent. So the children say, what can we hear? It's t at the end. So we extend the phoneme frame, we show them what it looks like. And then what we say is, right, okay, which ones can we hear really well in that word? We can hear the t really well. We can hear the e really well. We can hear the t at the end. But what we're struggling to hear is the n. So what we need to do is say it a little bit louder and a little bit longer. And we've got jazz hands and we've got magic microphones. So watch this, my turn. T, e, n, t, tent. Your turn. Want to see jazz hands? And basically what we do is we say the adjacent consonant that children struggle to hear in a word louder and longer, and we train their brain to hear those sounds. For stop, the adjacent consonant there with the t, 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 that is what they struggle to hear in that word. So they might stop at the traffic lights, and you'll see that in their writing. So what we can't do, we can't say t louder and longer because we will schwa on it. But what we can do is throw the spotlight on it. So we can do jazz hands for the longer ones, but we can go like this, stop, stop. And what we are doing is training children's brains to hear more than 3 sounds in a word. It's also a perfect opportunity to consolidate the phase 2 and the phase 3 spellings, where we teach children at least 1 spelling for the 44 sounds of the English language. Then we've got phase 5, choose to use. AI and AY, great, this is so cool. We've got a choose to use rule. They sound the same, but they look different. If we hear it in the middle, I'll do the actions. If we hear it in the middle, we choose to use AI. If we hear it at the end, we choose to use AY, my friend. However, we've got, let's have a look at double E and EA. This is not cool. There's no choose to use rule. What should we do? Let's write with both spellings. Let's have a good look and see which one looks like the right spelling for me. And phase 5 is all about choose to use spellings. Does it look right? Because children will have seen that in their writing as well. And then we've got switch spell sounds at phase 5. We're still listening, recognizing, build, read and write. But this is where it doesn't sound the same but look different. It looks the same and it sounds different. And what we do is we play switch it. We have the spelling in the middle, and we switch it up, we switch it O. It can sound like an op, it can sound like an O, it can sound like an op, it can sound like an O. Or in tie and thief, it can sound like an I, it can sound like an E, it can sound like an I, it can sound like an E. So say, for example, a child read the word thief and they read it as thief. I would just go into that spelling and say, what other sound do you know for that spelling? Or because we've done switch it so many times, we just go in and say, quick switch it, quick switch. And they switch it and they say it's E, read it again, E, thief. And now we've sounded it out, because if in doubt, sound it out, and that's okay. But now we're going to read with speed. Let's read it, 1, 2, 3, thief, for that automaticity and that increasing fluency. Okay, so we've done a little bit of subject knowledge. We've done physical, oral, blending and segmenting. We've now got a really good idea of the progression. And if anybody would like a copy of my progression overview, let us know. We can send that through to you after today. That's absolutely fine. But now what we're going to do is just have a quick look now at a few more of the early reading deep dives, so that the sequence of reading books shows a cumulative progression in phonic knowledge, and it's matched closely to the phonic program. Unfortunately, book bands aren't decodable. Some of them are, some of them aren't. And you might want to, I think one of the things on here is, let's have a look. Original book banded books have been effectively organized to match phonic phases rather than color coding, because you'll find in pink books and red books, you will find phase 5 words, you'll find all sorts of tricky words. And what children need to do is grow in success and confidence that what they have been learning in their phonics, they are practicing that as well. That they have the range of decodable text, the environmental print links, I'll demonstrate that to you in a moment, high quality books that have that, teacher print, and also they have the same sort of skills in a variety of books, because there's only so many times you can read Sid's Knits, guys. Okay, so early reading and phonics implement a range. Have a look at the range of books that you've got and think, actually, long term, do we need to sort of grow the range of phonics that we are offering for our children? Pocket Rocket readers are brilliant, and they're about $17.99. There's also Pocket Rockets on an app, and I think that's about 99p. But you've got Phonics Bug, Big Cat Phonics, Project X, Comics for Phonics, Rigby Star. If you go and have a look at your phase 2 books and went, oh, do you know what, we need some more phase 2 books for our very early reader stages, and we want to expand our range, there's a thing called Pandora Books. That's as in Pandora's box, Pandora Books, and literally they have a whole range of
decodable text. So you're not just having to buy into Phonics Bug. You've got a range of Phonics Bug, you've got a range of floppies, and they've kind of put them together as a bundle. That's Pandora Books. I only stumbled across it a couple of weeks ago. It's really good. Like we say, there's only so many times you can read Sid's Knits, but children do need, it's a riveting read. Children do need lots of support with the grapheme phoning correspondence in texts that match their ability. However, I'm going to look at my storybooks, and I know that Joe Harris and Joanne Dodd have been doing today with Miss McDonald, and basically I'll say, I know you did that today, so can you help me read it? Sid, guys, read with speed. Sid, fantastic. So you're making links with phonics, not only just in their phonics session, but their decodable text, but also those storybooks as well. So Room on a Broom, you've just taught the spelling for the sound ooh. All afloat on Noah's boat, you've got the spelling for the sound O. So look out for your phonics in the high quality text. Pooh in the Zoo, we're definitely going to do that one with our ooh. Pooh and Wee phonics is the way forward. But also as well, I'm going to look at my popular culture and my environmental print. So when I'm teaching double Z, of course I'm going to bring out Buzz Lightyear. Why on earth wouldn't I bring him out? When I'm teaching E, I'm going to bring out CBeebies. When I'm teaching I'm definitely bringing out the Golden Arches. And when I'm teaching I'm definitely bringing out the Lion King, because we just can't wait to be king. So songs and popular culture and things that you know that children are interested in. So for example, I might have the cutout of my box of Cheerios or a picture of Cheerios. So it's thinking like phonics in the world around children. Where is it? And making sense of it, not just in that vortex that is that 20 to 25 minute revisit, review, teach, practice, apply every single day. Play with phonics is one of the key messages that needs to come across. Play, play, play. Make play trays. Invite them to your play trays. And inside your play trays, have blending blobs. So here's my blending blob. And you can see that there. So I've got lots of blobs and I've got lots of sticks, and the word of the built there, box. 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 I could build my words with spoons if I wanted to. I could have plant pots, so there with the spellings for the sounds on, and actually they're a brilliant whiteboard because they just wipe off, so they're reusable. And I have reading pots where we can read the words. It might be that they're collecting spellings for sounds using tweezers and seeing how many they can put into their pot at that time. Or I say, can you find me the spelling for the sound S? And they're looking around for it, they find it and they put it in their pot. It could be that they've got their shot glasses. You could even have a water tray with a bowl and a blending whisk. You'll get the idea in a moment. And I'm sure we've got plenty of these around. These are hand wash bottles. So children, can you build me the word pot? So they get the pot and they squeeze pot in, pot, and then, or they pump pot in, and then they can squeeze pot in. I'm actually doing it there. Squeeze off, and then I've got, let's pump it in. That's just got all over my legs, lovely. And then we can blend it together. So blend it together, we've done pots. The children absolutely adore activities like that. I'm just gonna put that down on the floor, so computer. We can use paper plates, cheap as chips. We can choose to use spellings on them. You know, in the middle, at the end. We can use paper cups. We can use pegs. I should have shares in Home Bargain, but go down. I don't know whether it's the same everywhere, but go right down to the bottom where all the toys are. Head all the way to the end and turn right. And there are some toys, like old-fashioned toys. And what they've got is these Jenga blocks, but half of them have actually got their chalkboards. So you can write words on them and play chalkboard Jenga with your children. Lego bricks, Post-it notes. These are great to use as well. These are really cheap in the stationery aisle, but lots of little pocket envelopes with the spellings for the sounds on, and they can peg those on. There's just so many different ways of playing with phonics with your children, and play is our favorite, brain's favorite way of learning. So let's make it playful. Let's make it physical. Let's think about outdoors. Have you got big outdoor stuff? Have you got phonics rocks like this with the tricky words on outside? Can we get logs on that are painted in blackboard paint? Can we get spoons that we can build into plant pots and into sand areas as well? Can we get big offcuts of logs, which actually are quite difficult to shift and lift, but we have to do it together. And that's going to build up all of this upper body strength as well. Can we make it fun? Can we make it physical? Don't straighten your hair on that day or get a shower cap on. It's the way forward. But basically, spellings for sounds for our children, but water gun phonics. Under my desk here, I've got a pile, whether you can see them, of ball pool balls. I'm not throwing those out in my living room because they're going to go absolutely everywhere, but I can throw those out for revisit and review, and the children have to go and pick up I'm going to pretend that's oi. It's not on there, it's the word spoil, but it's oi. So they've got the spelling for sound oi, and then they have to bring it back to me and say, Mrs. Lucas, this is oi. And I've got 2 buckets. And in that bucket, if they get it right, I'll throw it into. If they get it wrong, I'll say, so Kayla's just given it to me and said, this is R. And I said, Kayla, this is oi. And then I put it into my other bucket. And I'm making a mental note that children are getting mixed up with that. And I'm addressing misconceptions. So make it fun, make it physical for your children. We've got Jenga here, I'm just doing some sight word stuff. You've got sort of tic-tac-toe, sight word pop, parking cars, hoopla hoops, twister, get down to the fly section, lots of bug splatters. You've even got hopscotch there as well. We're going on a tricky word hunt. We're going to catch a big one. We're not scared. And off we go to find that tricky word. And we've got, that's shoot the monster on there, but it could be shoot the spelling, shoot the sound, shoot the spelling, shoot the tricky word. But it's just thinking about how we get children up and off their bottoms and make it fun and physical for them. And we're not doing this just because we need it to be all singing and dancing for children, but read this. Scientists have recently determined that it takes approximately 400 repetitions to create a new synapse in the brain, unless it's done with play, in which case it takes up to 10 to 20 repetitions. So if the science is behind it, I know we've heard a lot about the science over the last 9 months, but ignore that type of science. This is proper science, and this is about children's brains, and they need play. And Albert Einstein says it's their highest form of research, and also it's a happy talent to have, and what we want our children to be is happy. If they remember learning, if it's fun and physical and memorable, they will remember that learning and they will retain that learning as well. So apologies if there's any physical development leads or PE leads, but get into your PE cupboard. Get the hoops out. You can do blending with hoops. You can do blending with the space hoppers. You can do blending with balls. You can do segmenting, skipping, and make it as physical as possible. Why else do we have to do this? Look at this. After sitting quietly, that's how much brain function is being used of a child taking the same test. After a 20-minute walk, look how much brain capacity is being used. We know that more synapses are firing, and movement and language and memory, they're all working together, then that is going to make for stickier learning for our children and more memorable learning as well. Also, the British Heart Foundation say that we should be, that children need at least 180 minutes a day of exercise, and that doesn't mean boot camp every hour on the hour. It means just moving around, standing. Think about how many chairs you've got in your room, especially at a Play-Doh table. Do they need chairs, or do we need them to be standing and pushing? Do we need that for their physical development? So not only their physical and gross motor skills, but we know it's helping with their brain development in their neocortex as well. Okay, we did this before, so I'm just going to do some things with you. A super segment, can everyone do that? A super segment and a brilliant blend helps them to read the word at the end. Okay, I've got all these helpful phrases. If anybody wants them, just get in touch. I'm not doing this in the sign of Ghostbusters, but you can do this outside. The children absolutely love it. They get their blending busters. They've got buckets of water. We've written words with big chunky chalk on. And we say, if you see a word that you cannot muster, who are you going to call? And they all go, it's the blending busters. And off they go and they blend the word. Would we prefer to do that, or do we want to look at flashcards on the carpet? I'll leave that one up to you guys to decide. The other thing is about the phonemes, or the graphemes, sorry. I'm just going to show you a little board here. Did you know you can get magnetic paper that goes through your printer and then stick it onto a baking tray? No. Oh, Joe's face then. I love it when I get a ooh. So I'll show you another one here. So basically teaching baking trays, but children need maths.
See you later.
Groovy glasses from the party section in B&M or wherever. But we say to the children, I hear the sounds in my words really well. We look at our maths to see and spell, because that's okay, because we can hear them, but actually it's a code. And if you think about what an and an looks like, and a ch and a sh and a, they all look very, very similar. So it's okay to go back and look at those, and practice and repeated use is going to make for those really strong synapse connections in the brain with our neurons and our dendrites that are coming together to form those new learning connections. Okay, have a little read of this, see if you can read it.
One rabbit was discombobulated.
Whoever just said discombobulated, well done you.
Because
The customers
were
a bit
boisterous
and
grumbly.
grumpy. They were grumpy. Fantastic. That there, I'm going to say it, is a summer-born boy. That there was a summer-born boy at the end of reception. That there was a summer-born boy that did not start the teaching of phonics, the formal teaching of systematic synthetic phonics, till sort of the February half term, mid-February half term. And the reason that he was able to do that was because he had his phonological awareness. It was fun, it was physical, it engaged him in every way. We stepped away from the whiteboard and we stepped away from the flashcards, even though there still is a place for whiteboards. And I know that, I just want to show you this whiteboard here. So remember, we hear the sounds in our words really well. We look at our maths to see and spell, and we can have our maths on here with Velcro, so it's there for them to remember. But who does it drive potty when you give out whiteboards and pens and they're rolling off and the children are watching them and they're touching them? And even though you say to them, leave your whiteboards alone, they still do it. Well, and giving them out is just horrendous as well. So here you have an all-in-one whiteboard and pen. It's attached with some Velcro. It's got pom-pom, which is nearly on its last days for the rubber, and it's got the spelling stuff on it as well. So yes, there is a time for whiteboards. Yes, there is a time for what was I going to say? For flashcards. But let's tune into the children. Let's think about how we can make it fun and physical and exciting using everyday materials and stuff on a shoestring as well. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you yet again, because I need to share my computer sound. I'd like you to get a big piece of paper, or a small piece, it's entirely up to you. I would like you to write the spelling for the sound ooh. And if you can hold it up to the screen so we can see it, please. Okay, so this is Phonics aerobics, and we're going to do it to the tune of Dance With Me Tonight with Ollie Murs. And this is where Damien and Mike are going to be looking out for active participation here to win some Sir Undercracker books as well. And if you think about the beat to this, you're going to be pointing to the spelling for the sound to the beat. So get your supersonic phonic finger there, and we're going to be like this. And then, again, and then ah, 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 ah. But then when we get to the chorus, we've got our ooh baby. I'm not going to sing for you, because that's embarrassing enough to adults. I can sing for children. Okay, so let's start this. I'd like everyone to take part, please. Show us your oohs, guys. Show us your oohs on the screen. Well done, Susan. Excellent, fantastic. So Damien and Mike, if you can look out for all the participants and choose the best participatories. I don't think that's even a word. Idea. So would you like to just have some flashcards going, or would you like to say, come on guys, let's do some phonics aerobics? And I'll tell you what, another one is really good. It's the Witch Doctor with ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Because that actually makes them say all of the sounds. So children, when it's phonics time, I put that music on sometimes and they come to the carpet singing ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah. It works with anything that's just got a really nice, strong beat. Walking on Sunshine, we've got the O, so we could do it for that one. And it depends which spelling you've been learning. So on your way home on the radio, I've just ruined hits radio or whatever you listen to, because you'll be thinking, oh, I could use that one there, I could use that song there. But phonics aerobics is really good for that. Okay, guys, you've been absolutely fantastic and very patient with me, because I've slightly gone over there an extra sort of 15 minutes, but I hope that you found the session useful. I've tried to jam pack it through of lots and lots of stuff. We said we'd do fun and physical, we said we'd do some subject knowledge, we said absolute consistency, and also the progression and the phonic phases. I've not mentioned this today because this is slightly different altogether. I do lots of phonics training, but I am the lead content creator of something that is coming live in January called Supersonic Phonic Friends. Go onto our website, www.supersonicphonicfriends.co.uk. We're also on Facebook. We are fully aligned with Letters and Sounds. And if you want to inject new life into the teaching of your phonics and some va-va-voom and introduce characters like Listening Len and See It Sam, segmenting Seb and building Bill and blending Ben, the reading and writing twins Rex and Ron, Jazzy Jack and Magic Mac, and Tricky Tess and Nonsense Nan, oh, and Cheeky Sneaky Sid. If you want to find out more about those characters, please do get in touch. If you could bob over to menti.com on your browser and type in 2710 93 8.
Anna, what was the code? Sorry.
Sorry, I'll tell you right now. Hang on a second. It is 2710
Yeah.
93 8.
Bro.
Don't know whether any of you noticed then while I was doing phonics aerobics, my 12-year-old little boy just popped his head around the corner and shook his head. I think I've embarrassed him. Okay, so basically what we've got here is a word cloud, and you have got 10 entries per participant, but you don't have to. But basically, you've got a list there where you can type in words to describe these two sessions. The more frequent the word is that people say, then the bigger that will come up. So I'm going to present that. And basically, how would you describe these two sessions that you have for early reading and phonics before and after the next working? So not the next working, because you've already given that feedback to Damien and Mike. You just type in words that you would describe these two sessions to. You don't have to do all 10, guys. Put too many on there. Well, that's a good one. I don't know who wrote that. Very phonetically plausible. Lively, active, informative, interesting, brilliant, engaging, active. That's what we like to see. Active, consistent, that's absolutely key. Bright, fun, I'm glad it was fun. Nobody needs boring phonics. Death by whiteboard, death by flashcards. Informative is coming up more. Creative, perfect. I don't think it was perfect. There were lots of things, but innovating, revealing, interactive, exciting. Those words will still keep on going round, but That's really helpful, guys. I mean, it was a whistle-stop tour of phonics, and I'm sure Damien and Mike won't mind me saying this, but I do deliver training in schools and I support with leadership and management. So if you want to contact me for your whole school training, we can do that via Zoom over a couple of staff meeting sessions, or I do come into school face-to-face as well. So just to let you know that. Right, I'm going to move on now to the next part of this, and basically this is you. Oh, sorry, you key 3. Done that one. Hang on. Okay, it's come up on this one here. Oh, not as exhilarating before. Okay, write down 2 or 3 key things that you are going to implement as quick fixes for immediate impact for your children. Write those into Mentimeter. Interactive phonics sessions, make sure it's fast paced. Easy to implement, educational. Phonics aerobics, yeah, that's a really easy one to implement, isn't it? Really easy. Now, if you really want to get into it, you can throw in all sorts of moves. I've seen it done with like air guitars and saxophones and all sorts that you can get for your party booth things. More creative, listen for the sound. Yeah, that's really key, guys. Not going straight into the spelling. Let's listen to the sound first. Songs for the action, songs for the sounds, physical actions. Searching around there. No flashcards at phase 1, just to remember that, a health warning, you do need them for later on. Okay, brilliant. Everyone, thank you so much for taking part. Thank you very much for your feedback. But remember, it's not about Ofsted, it's about those very important little people, making sure they're getting a first-class start to early reading and phonics. That it's fun, it's memorable, it's exciting. It's got all the physical development that our children need. Then you've also got your tools to be able to just say, right, what are we doing? What else do we need to do further? And then you can very quickly transfer that into a comprehensive action plan that you can work through over the next of 2020, 2021, so that you can showcase your early reading and phonics to Ofsted and you guide them through the deep dive rather than them doing the deep dive to you. Thank you very much.
Anna, thank you very much. I think I speak for everybody there. It was informative and really, really interesting. So thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions for Anna they'd like to put to her while we've got her? We can put her on the spot. Has anybody got any questions?
I've got the chat open, or just come off mute if you want to.
Yeah, feel free to do either way.
Oh, do you have any video?
What's that, Sarah?
Do you have any videos of you doing phonics on YouTube or anything like that?
No, because it'd bother me in my own head. But what I can do, Sarah, is I was over lockdown and like since we've been back in school, so I've been doing a bit of like sort of hybrid, going into schools and delivering model sessions, or I can effectively do it via Zoom as well, and then you can record them for your school. So if you want to get in touch, we could deliver live lessons into your school that can be recorded that everybody can watch.
Okay, thank you.
Anna does have, you do have some blogs on our website as well, don't you? From last year. I
don't know whether you invited me to do that, Damien, actually.
I think you've got one on there from last year, yeah. I think so.
Oh.
Anyway, we'll have a look. Or you can actually look at, Anna did a talk at the awards last year, the Nexus Awards, and that's on our YouTube channel. So Anna hates it, but if you want to see more of Anna on video, then head over to the YouTube channel, and she's on there. Does anybody else get any more questions before we wrap up?
Somebody's asked me if I got a copy of the Choose to Use rhyme. Yeah, I'll write it in now. So this is so cool. We have our choose. I'm writing it in as fast as I can. Choose to use rule. So that's when there is a choose to use rule. hear it in the middle, hear it in the middle, choose to use AI, hear it at the end, so like you're going to the end of a rainbow, choose to use AY, and then this is not cool, so we haven't got choose to use rules, so what do? Let's write with both spellings. So get the children to do that. Let's write with both spellings. Let's have a good look and see which one looks like the right spelling for me. So let's write with both spellings. So apologies if my spelling's awful on this. Have a good look and see which one looks like the right spelling for me. And I've actually, the irony in a phonics session, I've spelt spelling wrong, but please, that I've done that.
There's a couple of others. Lindsay Bryan, further up, who I saw dancing very well to Ollie
Oh,
Murs
we
before.
haven't chosen the...
And singing along. Well, Lindsay Bryan's my winner for that.
Right, okay, Lindsay, that's on the way to you. So you guys need to send your stuff through to Damien and Mike, send your addresses
Yeah,
through.
if you filled in the feedback form, your address and everything will be on there, so that's fine. Lindsay actually asked, what would you do for phase 6?
Right, okay, so phase 6 now. So you've got phase 6 and you've got support for spelling, and you've got your year 1 and year 2, or your key stage 1 national curriculum spelling appendices. So because they're statutory, you need to go from phase 5B into, so after choose to use, you need to go there directly into the appendices. We've actually got a document that tells you what you've done already. So what I can do, Damien, I'll put together a little Google Drive thing and share it with you, and then you can share it with everybody else. Is that all right?
Do a blog on it, Anna, and we'll get it on there and we'll share it with everybody. There we go. I've laid down the gauntlet now. You can't get out of it.
Right, thanks for that.
You're
so
all right.
Use the statutory guidance to guide you in what you are delivering, but then use phase 6, support for spelling, use those as a resource to dip in and out of. There is something called, and I don't often advocate schemes, but I do know that it does dovetail very well with letters and sounds and phonics, is no nonsense spelling, and that is all aligned with the national curriculum as well.
Brilliant. Deborah Holmes has asked, what are your thoughts on children writing their own names in nursery? It's a good one, actually, because I'm going through that with my little boy at the moment because he's in nursery.
I think it's all about readiness, isn't it? It's about them being able to recognise the name and giving them opportunities to, you know, have a go at writing their name. But if they're not ready to do, and that you're doing like signing in and things like that, they could sign in with a picture, they could sign in with a symbol. If you guys are familiar with Greg Bottrell, Can I Go and Play Now? If you're not, make yourself familiar with him. He's got something called the Message Centre, which just rebrands and revamps early writing in the early years. And it's about that wanting to do so, and doing it in lots of creative ways for them. So they might spell their names out with pom-poms and putting them into kind of putting them into an outline of their name. It might be that they're going to paint their name, or they're going to do it in the shaving foam, but lots of different ways to do it, so it's not an arduous case of come and sit down and write your name. But then you could have like your write your name challenge that they can do every day. A really good display actually about children's mark making at the beginning of the year in nursery, and that goes up on a wall, and it's called Let's Make Our Mark. And then there's another one done at the end of the autumn term which sticks over the top, and then one at the end of the spring term and the summer term. So literally I could walk into your classroom and go progress, progress, and you'd see the progress in the mark making. I think they need to be really at that stage of feeling comfortable at using a pencil, not the your palmer grip. Did you know as well, I didn't do this with you, yeah. So you've got your palmer grip for your children. I would say they're not ready to write their names. Once they turn it into a 5-finger grip, they're starting ready then maybe to start having a go at their names. But it's these 2 fingers that are the problem. So if you just get something, it's like, this is my tricky words here that I've got on things, just get something to hold those 2 fingers back, like a rubber or a piece of paper or just something. Sharpener. Okay, and now go to pick up your pen. You can't pick it up with a 5-finger grip. So once children get to that stage, then it starts to get to that stage as well. that's when they could start to write their name. There's also things that you can get on Amazon, and it's not a tripod grip that just goes over a pen. It's a tripod where you put your 3 fingers into it. So it helps your brain learn how to get it into that grip. If I could show you my 12-year-old son's pencil grip now, I don't practice what I preach at home. How he got away with that, I've no idea, but he's got like something like this going on. Anyway, that's a different story altogether. What do you think?
I think with the homeschoolers.
Oh, Sarah, that's a really good one. What do you think children should start precursive handwriting? Oh, Sarah, I've had so many professional conversations about this. Right, so I think that handwriting should not be taught until children are ready, and we need to go to the early years outcomes and look at the descriptors and say, right, what would readiness actually look like for those children? And if we start handwriting when children aren't ready, we are planting those early seeds of reluctancy. So throughout phonics, I will probably teach my phonics using non-cursive. And when I think that they are ready, if you are a cursive school, I will then teach them the cursive stuff. And I'll teach them that cursive stuff in a 10 to 12 week, 2 10-minute focus sessions a day, where they do intensive handwriting. Rather than trying to drag it out over the year, when they're showing me those signs of readiness, I need to write a blog about this one, Damien, for sure. But when they show those signs of readiness, then it's time to fly with that handwriting. What I didn't mention there, actually, and you'll notice, well, I omitted it. I said that phonics was about listen, recognize, read, and write, but it wasn't about their handwriting. And phonics isn't about a handwriting session. Handwriting sits a different thing to that altogether. And even the handwriting families don't follow the phonics either. So we don't teach handwriting with phonics. When they first start, they can be forming recognizable letters. And as a team, I would sit down and go through your early years outcomes and say, right, for physical development and for their literacy development and phonic development, and personal, social and emotional development, where are they up to? What things would we say they would have to have for our children? What would they have to demonstrate to us that they could do for us to say they are ready for their phonics? And you're looking at the late 40 to 60 month age. I wouldn't teach formal handwriting until the end of reception. If I could leave it to the year 1, I would do, but I know that the year 1 teachers would be up in arms with me. So I'll make a little bit of a compromise on there, but I wouldn't. Let me just put a caveat on that. Say, for example, Cassie and Joe, say they showed me that they were ready before that. Of course, I would start it with you, but for the main, I wouldn't start for our children until the summer term, until they demonstrate absolute readiness to me. Sarah, does that answer your question? Fantastic.
Thumbs up. Brilliant. Anybody else got anything before we wrap up? No? Good stuff. So basically, if you want to keep up to date, Anna's going to do some blogs for us. There's lots of stuff on our website. You can subscribe there. Just put the link in the chat, and you can go to our Twitter page as well. Follow us on Twitter. We keep that up to date very regularly as well. Thank you very much. If you haven't submitted your form yet, please do. The survey from earlier on. The details from that. We've recorded these sessions, so we'll send everybody who fills that form in, and everyone who's paid for their session, we'll give them a session 1 and session 2 video. We'll break it up into 2 videos, so you see both sessions with Anna, and you can share that with your staff at your school. If anyone does have any questions or anything like that, please let us know, and we'll put them to Anna and put you in touch. That's not a problem at all. But yeah, do follow us across social media. And with that, we'll Anna's just put her details in the chat there as well. So if anybody wants to take those details, her mobile number and her email address there. Brilliant stuff. Did Mike need to pick another winner for the dancing, Anna?
Oh yeah, go on, Mike.
So Lindsay Bryan won 1. Yeah. Sorry.
There we go. There we go. I've got my voice. So I made note. There were so many amazingly engaged people and who were jumping in. It was really hard. But the standout one for me was Carol Foster. So I noticed she was engaged as well at the start. So is Carol still? Yeah, Carol's still there in the session.
Well done, Carol. Let's give you a virtual clap. Hang on. Oh, she's smiling away there. She's quite happy. Well done, Carol. Thanks, everyone. It's been a really, really enjoyable afternoon. The engagement from you has been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Apologies for running over, but thank you very much. And feel free to disconnect and enjoy your evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Whew, all done. And breathe. That was the
And
most
breathe
stressful next
indeed.
working session. Was it noticeable?